there's a couple of ways you can plant. When I first started, we used the dibble bar, and for the property I had, which was in eastern Oklahoma, it was rocky soil and that worked just fine. The one thing when you're planting with a dibble bar is you can only go so deep in the ground. So Bill used to use a hatchet. I think you would lay out your seedlings on his work table and make sure that the length of that all the root systems were about the same length before planting with the dibble bar. Over the years, we have learned we've had better success because we do not irrigate by using a auger system to plant. Another thing that we do is, even though they don't recommend fertilization on the Christmas trees, we found that in our particular soil that using a forest starter, it's a 2-year pill, and because we go deep enough in the ground, it's buried far enough below the ground that the roots can get to it and it doesn't seem to burn it. We've just had a lot better success with it. Let's see, before you start that, Mike, you want to cut that open, please? One thing we do is after the tree is cut, we come along and we auger out the stump with a special little machine that takes the stump out. Some of you may be planting alongside your old stumps. We've done that before too. But the one thing we've learned with planting is make sure you get the old needles away from the ground, because you do not want to put dirt and old needles back in. It's not good mulch. It'll cause your trees to die because they don't have enough soil around them. These are kind of sad looking. They're left over from our Christmas planting season. We plant early. Our particular area of the state, it works better in our area that we plant around middle of January, late part of January, 1st of February. This year they surprised us with trees literally right at New Year's. So we had to get with the program.
Was that a typical tree you got this year?
Uh-huh. Well, no. Not quite, maybe a little smaller.
No, that's a little bigger. Yeah, me too. The typical tree I got this year was about 6 inches.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then they called one if they could have some of them back. They'd oversold.
Yeah, because I was out there buying 3,000. Is this what y'all got? When you're planting the trees, one thing you want to look at, please cull your trees. Look for them and see if they are, sometimes their cutting device will get too close to the edges and then you don't have a root system on one side. Try to look for a balance. I'll try to pick through, like I would have done, see that one? I would have done got rid of it. That's why you order a little more than what you plan on planting. Don't even try to plant everything. Here's one. You know, again, toss it out. And you can see the mold on this. This is from, oh.
Oh, I got it.
You got it? Okay, good. All right. Well, let's see. Anyway, be sure and cull through these seedlings. It's very, very important that you cull through them. Pick a day. Like just looking at the top of that, you wouldn't want to plant that. See if I can spot a few more here. Oh, here's one of my favorites. I like these. You can see that? I wouldn't even bother. I mean, that's another toss over. And, you know, of course, like Craig said, you know, green side up when you're planting. And shall we go ahead? Typically, I have a garden cart. I'm not sure this is a good. sure whether to say he's out of practice or.
We usually don't have a stump there.
Yeah, we don't
Oh,
have
you
a stump.
need to cut, Mike.
But
Have a good hold on it when you find one over it. Well,
the one thing that I do is I don't have a lid on my bucket, but I do use these kitty litter buckets. I'll put 2 in a garden cart along with my tablets. I put the tablets in one of these. One of my grandkids goes down and tosses the tablets in after the holes are drilled, so we try to make it more of a production. And I'm picky about how long this seedling stays out in the air, so I tell them to take them. We pull the garden cart up right next to the seedling. They pick it out of the bucket, make sure it's a good one, and go straight into the ground. And I've got some flyers over here I'll give you, but it's from the forestry. But you want to make sure when you're planting that you plant it not higher than the root area, nor, don't get it too tall and don't get it too low. Those are important things. What I usually do is when I plant the seedling, I hold, first you want to make sure your roots are all straightened down. He's got a long enough hole that these are fine for what we're doing. Did I put the tablet in there? I did? Maybe not. We'll put another one in. There it is. Okay, we throw that in there. Put this down in here. I usually hold my hand with the seedling at the ground level, it's kind of centered, and then start sloughing off the dirt and pack it down as you go. I use the rubber gloves because I don't need all that dirt under my nails, and stand him up. Now, again, based on your soil, I've got to watch ours because the way we take out our stump, the ground is pretty loose. If we don't get enough rain in between to kind of make the ground solid, then when we auger this hole, the trees will try to lean when we get a lot of rain and wind. So sometimes I'll plant against the side of the wall of the augered hole to hold it so it doesn't lean over quite as bad. Mike, can you think of anything else on the planting? Anybody questions or anything that?
On the tablet, we have a little, it's like a little dibble bar, except it's a plug maker. And we have bought trees that were in plugs. You push in the ground, it takes the plug out, leaves a hole. We take and go back after we plant and put the tablet in that hole beside the tree rather than down in the hole below the tree.
Oh, okay.
That's just another option.
Okay. These particular ones, and you can probably find these, we get these from A.M. Leonard. There's 1,000 of them. They're 22.82, and they are $76 a box of 1,000. And yeah, order them early. I concur with Craig on the ordering of the seedlings. I'm on that website, Oklahoma Forestry website, like in September, just waiting for them to accept the order because you want to be one of the first ones to get some of your seedlings. And also do a price comparison. You have to ask for the Oklahoma Christmas tree discount of 8 cents per tree. If not, you'll be paying 40 cents a tree. So if you're ordering 500, you're going to pay $200, right? Yeah. But if you order 3,000, you're going to pay $240. So if you need more, like if you need 1,000, you're going to be better off to buy 3,000. And that's probably where the quantities are going, but we don't want to tell the forestry that. I think the numbers look good for them to sell 3,000 rather than 500 or 1,000. So.
Now, Susan called this year and she says, now, are you going to plant all of those, or are you just buying extra so you can cull them? Because they were short seedlings, so she wanted me to give up some of mine and give them back to them if I were just buying for culling. I said, no, I'm going to plant them all. So make sure you don't give up something that
that's
true.
What you want. That's true, and we did that, and then where are they? The butchers. Here you are. Yeah, we shared with them. Once we culled through ours and got them planted, they needed seedlings, and we just gave them to them. So, we may work out something next year if you have extra seedlings. send me an email and I'll send it out to all the members and perhaps they can contact you. So,
If you don't buy the 3,000, you can't get that discounted price. Whenever I called and ordered the trees, she told me there was short on them. I said, well, I'll take fewer trees if you give me that price break. And she said, no, you still got to order 3,000 to get that price break.
yes.
Same thing with the fertilizer tablets. When you need them most, they won't have them. So they're always on back order for some reason when you need them. Get those ahead of time. They're not going to rot. They last forever.
Now again, I don't know everybody's soil conditions, but I'm just telling you for our area of Oklahoma, these have worked really well to getting those trees off to a good start. And I think once you get your seedlings going, the rest of it's kind of easy. I don't fertilize on the surface. I just do this, and that's all. So, any other questions? Can't think of any.
You till or anything before you do that, or you just go out and dig a hole?
When we first got the farm, we tilled.
We tilled the whole thing, but as we go through there now and I remove the stumps, the machine I do, it's about 8 to 10 inches, and it cleans the ground up, and it's just kind of like rototilling straight down in that spot. It gives you nice fluffy ground for it.
And the reason for it, we don't overkill with Roundup. Well, the problem is you don't have any extra dirt to put back in there. I don't know whether any of you have encountered that, but I've encountered areas that I didn't have the dirt available to me, so we had to carry a bucket full of dirt to help pack that tree in real well. And so he invented something that now he goes through on areas that the tree just died, not where we've taken the tree out or the stump out, where the grass is, and he just kind of scrapes that off real well, and it allows us to get some of that side dirt to put back in with the tree when we plant.
Something else, if you're replacing a tree that's been here any time at all, it's going to have enough needles fall that you see. It'll leave a nice patch. We go through there with just rakes and just clean off all the old needles real quick. It's real easy to do, and it gives you nice dirt to put back in the hole no matter how you plant it, be it dibble bar or by auger.
Right, and I can't overemphasize that. You'd think that the needles going back in would be a good thing, but it's not. They're too...
They wick moisture out.
They wick moisture out, and the trees just don't live as well. So.
I have several little hoes that I've broken the handle out of, like a little garden hole with a handle about that long. And I always carry that with me so I can scrape in the row. If I don't have enough dirt, I can get it in the row. Not out in where you're going to mow and all that, but in the row it's usually pretty bare because you've sprayed for weeds, you've controlled all that. So there's usually dirt available in that row. If you carry something, you can dig it out.
Right.
Or if you got gophers, they'll usually leave you.
Yeah, they'll leave you.
Yeah.
After they eat the tree roots.
You use pterosaur?
I used to, and I just, again, personal experience, I just didn't seem to think that it did as well for me. Like I said, we just seem to find that planting earlier in our particular area, I think a later planting, if we try to plant around March to April, they will not make it through the summer. Get them in there good enough or early enough that they are still dormant. They're only thinking about their roots, being able to grow, and so you don't have that competition going on of, trying to put on new growth and then also the roots growing. So I kind of quit using it, and I just go straight water right into the ground, and it does well.
So you have water in the bucket.
I have water in the bucket. Yes, I don't have that in there now, but I do keep them. I think it's, what is it, Craig, 15 seconds or 10 seconds?
Well, it's a very sharp curve, because you remember when the trees came out of the nursery, they were as happy as they're ever going to be. So everything you do after that can only degrade it. You're just trying to slow it down. If the wind's blowing and it's a sunny day, 2 minutes for sure and they're dead. If it's like this, maybe 15 minutes and they're dead. It depends on the day. But if you can get it out of that water and into that ground in 30 seconds or less, you're doing okay.
That's true. That's true. So
We try not to auger too far ahead of where we're planting so that the holes don't dry out and they stay right up with us. You can plant a lot of trees in one day with just something like this.
And those are not that expensive. They're about at Tractor Supply. They're about $129, something like that.
I bought one from there. It's kind of earthquake or something. pretty heavy. This one's really light.
Yeah, I have an earthquake. It's,
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. This, and I use it when, if something else breaks down. I got this, I think it was through Granger's. They cost a little more, probably twice as much, a little more than that, but they're real, like I say, 2 fingers right there. And it's very strong. And the first one I had last 10 years, I still got it. I just bought another one just to have it. That's the original bit. You can see it's well worn. It all originally started out this size.
Mm-hmm. And the
Oh,
one
it's
thing,
sand.
when we bought the one from Tractor Supply, I guess because this one's so worn, the guys weren't used to it being so tall, and they were finding it harder to auger because they were having to get up higher on it. You do want to be careful if you're using an auger, because like you said, you hit a branch or leftover tree root from your other trees, it will yank you around, or yank your arm. So that's a caution.
Better models have a spring in there to absorb that shock.
Yeah, some of them do have a shock. Yeah. We don't run into that issue anymore. When we first started out, we finally decided so you really want to watch that. You usually want to have it up against the hip.
Any other questions? Mike, is that a spear standing there that you have, or you just...
No, it ain't never sheared. It spun me around before, so it ain't broke.
So we're not quite as sophisticated. We just use postal digits.
Oh, do you? Okay. Do you catch your seedling roots before you use the post hole digger?
No, but we're very careful not to get the J roots in. So we're very careful when you get the whole problem is if you make the hole too shallow, you'll make that J root, which is absolutely the worst thing you can do when you're planting it to go down. So we put them down and we spread them. We just actually spread them, and the guys are pretty good about that.
Okay.
We use postal diggers on it. We're not. I'm not young like Mike, and I can't handle that thing. So, but our guys, we.
I got guys to do it now. I don't do it either.
Well, the other thing that we do, the question was asked about TerraSoap. We use wetting agent and everything. Plus, we use micro-rising on any time of the year that we plant. And the reason being because you never know what the weather's going to do. The ground can, unless it's really, really wet, we would not make the mixture as heavy. But usually when it's pretty dry, the conditions are dry, the ground is dry, if you're not really careful, you're going to get a hard freeze or it gets too warm. I think the tree is more likely to die than if you had a wetting agent to at least keep the roots moist. Maybe not so much when it's in dormancy, but as it starts growing. So we do the wetting agent of some variety in everything we plant.
Bob's one of the original founders of the Oklahoma Christmas Tree Association, and I concur with everything he said. He's
You all did a really good job. Thank you.
okay.